Ruth, how are you? It's so lovely to meet with you here again in Cambridge at Boudoir Femme. Now, scarily enough, I think it was maybe about 5 years ago, the last time that you and I met, so this is a little bit crazy. I mean, time has just flown by. I was just a young blood and you had just released your second fragrance, Amorosa. Since then, you've added Oxford, an amazing oriental fragrance inspired by your time as a student at Oxford University studying chemistry. Now, that I believe was launched in 2015.
That's right.
But we're here today to talk a little bit about your newest fragrance, Firedance, which goes on sale here today, this evening, at Boudoir Femme. So, yeah, Firedance, it's your fourth fragrance in the lineup. And I would love to know where the inspiration for it came from.
Well, I've been working on Firedance for maybe 2.5 years, and in that time I had so many things to celebrate, and really Firedance is a story of celebration. I've used particular notes like a little bit of a fruity champagne popping, cork popping, buzzy sparkle in the top that leads into the rose heart. And the other main aspect of the fragrance is a smoky leather part with amber and oud. And yeah, this idea of celebration, it's not, I was thinking at the time, it's not just about celebrating really big moments, big occasions. It's for the small moments when you kind of pinch yourself that, yeah, there are some good things in the world, or you're enjoying yourself, whatever it might be. So it's a feel-good fragrance.
So you say it took about 2 years for you to construct the fragrance. How many mods would you say you went through before you landed on the final formulation?
Well, I could hardly say, but hundreds.
Gosh,
And,
that many.
the thing is that the way I work, I guess, I start with the idea. I knew I wanted this rose and leather combination, and I also knew I wanted to have a sparkly aldehydic aspect to it. But getting each individual part right took a long time, and getting the balance right also took a long time. And I had moments when I was thinking the rose part wasn't right, so I tried different rose elements. And finally, when I got that right, I was thinking actually it's too dominant, and I needed to bring up the smoky leather part. And so, you know, you change one thing, and actually a whole lot can change in a fragrance. So it did take a long time.
Yeah. I mean, all the notes from Firedance are absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love the damask rose, and it also features oud, which is interesting. And for those out there who perhaps aren't familiar with oud, could you perhaps sort of shed some light on that? And where you source the oud from? Because I know oud from different regions has different
That's right.
odour profiles and
Yes.
qualities.
Yes. Well, oud comes from the agar wood tree, which is grown in countries like Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and in Arab countries. The type of oud that I use comes from Cambodia. So the tree is grown. Nowadays it's possible to cultivate the trees and inoculate them so that the antibodies that the tree produces against the disease then produces a resin, which is what is the beginning point, the starting point of oud. And because a tree needs to be something like 10 years old before it even produces the antibodies in the resin, it takes a long time to get enough trees and enough agar wood and the resin to make oud. That makes it really expensive, but it's a wonderful ingredient. I understand that Arabian oud is much smokier, and the Cambodian oud that I've used I found it quite leathery and also a little bit sweet, so it combines really well with my leathery notes. and amber notes. I find it a great bridging material, as well as the material in its own right.
Cool. And who do you see wearing Firedance? What sort of person do you envision enjoying a fragrance? Or
I think the woman or the man, because it could be worn by either, is probably quite confident and wants to express a certain sensuality and is very happy in their own skin. Is perhaps a little bit daring.
Now, we have to talk a little bit about the packaging because the bottle design is fabulous. Who came up with the bottle design, and how important to you is the bottle design and packaging?
Well, I was very happy for a long time with the packaging that we had previously, but over the years, and as you know, the niche fragrance market has just exploded, and we began to feel that our packaging wasn't showing off the quality of the fragrances inside sufficiently for today's luxury niche market. And we spoke to a design agency called WMH, and we talked about how we wanted to get across the stories behind each fragrance. So the story of my signature fragrance is one of freedom, because it marks the time that I've had the freedom to create my own fragrance for my own brand, not just to someone else's brief. Amorosa is a story of love, and then Oxford is a story of discovery, and now...
hence depicted by the little images on the front of the bottle.
So every drop tells a story. Every drop is illustrated with the inspiration behind each fragrance.
Now, finally, the last time we spoke, one of the things that I asked you was, where did you see the brand in 5 to 10 years' time? Looking back at that video, now, one of the things that you mentioned was that you wanted a greater visibility, that you wanted the brand to be in a few department stores, in more niche boutiques, more niche fragrance outlets, which is what you've actually achieved since then. So, to square the circle, as it were, where would you like the brand to be in a further 5 years?
Well, I'm really lucky that now my son and daughter have joined me in the business, and with more hands on deck, we can explore other international markets, and it's fantastic that we're now in America, and we're looking at possibly the Middle East, Hong Kong, and this is where we see the brand going. But in England, I'm hoping really that the brand will become one that people hear more about and really go into a shop to ask for it, so it becomes a destination for them, that they are asking for Ruth Mastenbroek, and it's a well-known brand. That's how I would love to see it.
That is brilliant. Thank you ever so much.